guys, it's Fiona from Eventide Reads and welcome to day one of my work experience, I guess. I don't know what else really to call it. Sorry for the weird camera things going on. Like the desk is all the way over there, it's all the way over here. Today was my first day at the Orion offices and I just wanted to vlog a bit each day in the evening when I get back and talk about how I feel the day went, what got up to that I can talk about, things like that. So I'll start off with yesterday, which was me getting down to London, which was just a nightmare. So my train was at 11:55 from Manchester Piccadilly and that left on time. Everything was great. We got to just outside of Rugby and then we stopped and we waited and we waited and we waited. So we waited on the train for probably a good hour, just stood there, nothing. And then the train manager comes on going, so there's a problem with the overhead lines between Rugby and Milton Keynes. We can't actually go any further, so you've all got to get off the train at Rugby. The train wasn't meant to stop at Rugby at all, it was meant to go straight through to Euston. But there was a line, some of the lines had come down or some kind of failure. We couldn't go anywhere, so they kicked us off the train. The people on the platform, the people who were Virgin, had no idea basically what was going on, which was awesome. So we were told we'd be getting a coach down to Milton Keynes and then being put on another train to go to Euston. When asked when the coaches would be, they said, we don't know, could be soon, could be an hour, which was fab. I know that's not necessarily their fault, but they were very dismissive of us and just left all these people on this train. It wasn't just one train as well, there was a couple of trains that had to be stopped in quick succession. Waited for a bit and then suddenly they were like, you all need to go to platform 1, there's a train going to Euston. We're like, what do you mean? So they basically used the train we all rammed ourselves onto as a test as to whether they could get past the lines as they had been sort of fixed. They weren't properly fixed and I'm pretty sure there were some problems with the trains this morning in that area while they were still trying to totally fix the problem. But we made it to Euston. My train time was basically double what it should have been, so instead of 2 hours 15 minutes it's 4 hours and 30 minutes, which is just, you know, fab. I then got lost trying to find my hotel because it's actually really hard to find. Took one wrong turn, went left instead of right, got completely lost. It was like 20 minutes in the wrong direction. But I found it and I made it and I was absolutely soaking wet by that point. So I woke up this morning like 5 AM, which totally was not the plan. I was intending to wake up at like 7. I've never gotten the underground at like peak time before and I was thinking, I've heard so many stories of it being so rammed and stuff like that. It was perfectly fine. I'm pretty far out, I'm in zone 3 and I got on the underground this morning, which to be fair was pretty early because I was so awake. I was like, I'm going to go to town and find somewhere to have a coffee and use some Wi-Fi because the hotel Wi-Fi basically doesn't work. There was basically no one on the train when I got on and then there was only like a couple of stops where it got busy and then people got off pretty much straight away. So I had a seat the whole way down to Piccadilly Circus, which was nice because it's like a half an hour journey in for me to get to work. But that's kind of what I do on the bus every day, getting to my regular job, so that's fine. So I make it to the Orion offices and, you know, get all the pass sorted that I need and get myself, you know, all good and dandy or whatever. And yeah, so I'm in this little room that's just off from the rest of the guys in the publicity department, which is where I'm working this week. I really had no idea what I would be doing. I've read up a little bit about what publicists do and I have met some publicists in the past, but actually working in a department where you deal with all the publicity of stuff is pretty different. So a lot of what I'm doing is bits and bobs, doing spreadsheets of this, that and the other and correcting, you know, some kind of documents and things like that. Probably the most interesting part of my day was researching seaside fishing villages to see what bookshops were there. That was pretty interesting. I basically spent most of the day just doing bits and bobs, but it was nice to be in a completely different environment to what I'm used to. because of course in the bookshop you're just like constantly go, 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 go. Whereas it was like, you know, email going, Fiona, can you do this for me? And I'm like, I also forgot that I'd been in front of a computer all day long and I didn't bring my glasses because I'm an idiot. I've also already read a book. I started on the train yesterday in and finished it tonight on the train back to my hotel. I'm going to do a little vlog like every night and put them all together at the end of the week and just make a little video because I think it's nice to talk about some different experiences because I want to do more of this kind of stuff this year. I want to get out, meet more people, meet publishers, authors, whatever. I just want to get out more. I don't want to be that person that takes a week's holiday and does nothing with it because I'm technically on holiday from my actual job, but I'm working, which is fun. It's like how I like to spend my time. I am pooped and it is late. So today I did what they call show cards, and show cards are basically like the cardboard stands, little stands you see. They basically advertise an author's event. That's the bathroom, I'm sorry. What else? I went and met up with Jim and Faye and Julianne, so that was awesome because I've not seen them since February last year and it was just nice to see people. Hopefully gonna see another friend tomorrow. Started doing some bits and bobs for promoting a book, some lists. Basically everyone was really busy in the office today. It's been an interesting day. I am absolutely knackered, so I'm gonna go to bed. Well, actually I'm gonna read and then I'm gonna go to bed. So I spent most of today by the guillotine, so it feels, cutting up pieces of paper to stick on more show cards and to do leaflets, and I've got more show cards to do in the morning and I've got some other stuff to do. So today was a pretty productive day. I did a lot of show cards and I did a press release for the first time, which was pretty interesting. I'm trying to think of anything else I've done today. Transposed a list onto Excel. All in a day's work for the work experience, girl. But then I met up with a friend of mine after work who I've not seen for a while. We went to college together, so that was nice. And we went book shopping, which I know is dangerous. I should really not do that, but I kind of miss being in a bookshop. Like, I miss actually turning around and saying, you're talking about that book, it's amazing, you should read it, and actually personally recommending books to people. And that's kind of what I love about books, is actually being able to go, you should totally read this book, you are going to absolutely love it, and go away feeling like you know you've recommended them the book that they will talk to their friends about and they will rave about and they will love. And I don't know, maybe it's just generally the more social aspect. Like being in an office, you kind of sit there and work on a computer, whereas in a bookshop you're actually about and you talk to people, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm doing work experience, and it's always slightly different when you do a work experience as to an actual job, because you never actually get to do half the stuff that you would in the actual job. So I'm gonna watch some TV. I've just finished another book and bought some books, so I've got plenty of book choice. I don't know how I'm gonna get them all home on Friday. I got carried away, but I know they're all books that I would otherwise have to order, and just like, I'm not gonna buy them now, it's fine, because I'll forget to order them when I go home, that's the problem. So I've spent a little while in the hotel today. I didn't do anything after work, I just came home because I was really tired. Well, came back to the hotel. Not really home, but I'm going home tomorrow, and I've missed home a lot. Today was more of the same, show cards and transposing things onto other documents and blah blah blah. I was talking to both my dad and Kieran and saying that this maybe isn't for me, but maybe I don't know enough about the area in publishing. Maybe I'm the one that doesn't know enough and therefore it's not excited me, or it's the fact that maybe it's about the wrong kind of books, maybe it's about the kids' books that I love that maybe I need to work with again. I don't know. So it's some food for thought I think this week has provided, and it'll be interesting to see what I do with the information I've now gained from this week and see where I end up, I guess.
I have probably read more this week though, more than I have in ages. I've read 2 books and I'm on my 3rd book and I'm 80% of the way through it, and it's only Thursday night and I start the 1st book on Sunday. So it's very unusual for me to read that many books in a week. I'm not complaining about it. Probably will do a sort of roundup video on Saturday because I'm working all day tomorrow and then I'm travelling. But my train's not till like 7 o'clock, so I don't really have time to do anything. In fact, it might be later than 7. I don't actually know when it is. I know I get back fairly late, but I can't remember what time it actually is. It's Saturday. I am finally back home from my week in London. You will have seen all the other clips by this point. I've had a very chillaxed day, which I've needed because I'm back in work tomorrow. My actual job, which I've not been in for 2 weeks, so I'm very behind on the whole books thing. The morning was pretty quiet. The team were in lots of meetings and things like that, so I wasn't sort of involved in too much, but in the afternoon there's quite a few jobs to do. I spoke a bit about, what they were doing with these meetings during the day, what they were for and things like that. To be honest, I think Friday is the day where I asked the most questions, because I was feeling more comfortable. I kind of wish I'd asked more questions throughout the week, and I feel that's one thing that if I ever do work experience again, which I plan to, that I will feel more comfortable with asking a lot more questions. I just didn't want to bother people, which I know sounds ridiculous, but everyone just seemed really busy all the time. But the team were really great, and it was really nice to work with Charlie and her team, and I had a nice chat with them before I left. And I kind of wish I was going back next week. But at the same time, I'm glad I just did 1 week so I could get a quick taste of it and then make some kinds of decisions to see what I want to do. Speaking to one of the people that work there, they were saying, so the kids team has moved out of the building. Considering what I like is predominantly children's books, and that's what I know and I'm passionate about. Maybe next time I should work with them, which I think is a great idea. And I know they've just moved, so I'm not going to deal with it right now. So that's something for hopefully later in the year. That would be cool, but that's a maybe, I hope so kind of thing. But I've enjoyed seeing what they do in publicity, listening to bits and pieces, and yes, there's always boring work to do, but then there's sort of bits and pieces about dealing with people side of it and the social media side of it, which is stuff that I'm interested in. So maybe working with the kids publicity might be a bit more interesting to me personally, which I think is probably going to be the case if I'm interested in publicity at all. But who knows? I mean, there are other parts of publishing that I might try. I just haven't decided yet. I think this year is going to be a big year about me thinking about my future and an actual career, because working in bookselling is not a career, it's a job. And I seriously need to start thinking about a career. I'm 25, I'm going to be 26 this year. I need to actually start thinking about what I'm going to do with my life. So this is the start of it, and hopefully some good stuff will come from this year. So before I wrap up, I just want to share with you some books that I got while I was in London, because I actually got quite a lot. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some books when I return to work tomorrow, so I don't want to have like an absolutely massive book haul at the end of the month. I thought I would break it up now. It's much easier. Let's start with the books I bought while I was away. So of course I went on a shopping trip with a friend, and we ended up in Piccadilly Waterstones. I ended up in there twice during the week, which is always dangerous to my bank balance. But they have more books than do at Deansgate, and whenever I see a book in there I'm going, oh, I must order that when I get back home. Always forget. So at this time I was like, I'm just going to buy them. So the first one was Rules of Attraction by Simone Elkels. I can't say that, I'm really sorry. February last year when I went down to London, I bought the first book in this series, loved it. Have always been meaning to order the second one, always forgot. Had the second one and third one in Piccadilly, kind of regretting not buying the third one because I read this while I was away, and I forgot how much I love the writing style, and it's just so fierce. Another book I read while I was away was the first book in the Shadows series by Paula Weston. I've had this copy for ages, and I finally decided to read it because it's published by Orion, who obviously I went to work for a week. So I decided to purchase the next 2 books in the series because Piccadilly had them both in stock, and I've not seen them in stock in like any Waterstones. So I picked them up. I was like, yes. And then I found out it's a 4-book series.
So I'm probably going to harass the people of Orion for book 4 nearer the time. I might save these because I was just going to binge read the 3 books thinking there was only 3. So I might wait until the 4th one is near and then binge read. Maybe. But yes, so I got Shimmer, and I said Summer, Shimmer and Haze, which I think are 2 and 3. The last book I bought was actually 642 Things to Write About. This copy is quite dirty, but it's the last one they had in Piccadilly, and we didn't have any left in Deansgate when I went away, and I've been after one since before Christmas, but I couldn't afford to buy one. And if you watch me over on the Bookish Brits, you might have seen a video a little while ago where I talked about these kinds of books that I really like the idea of, and I finally bought one. I've only filled in a couple. I just opened it to random pages. I'm not going to be able to find them, so you can see I've started filling in bits of it. I just occasionally open it up to a random page and then go with it. On to books that I was given. So I met up with Jim and Julianne and Faye. You'll be able to find them linked down below, and I will link Charlie's Twitter as well because she came with us, and all those guys are awesome. And I will link Bookish Brits as well because Faye, Julianne and I are all on Bookish Brits. All the links are down below, yes. But Faye had said a while ago that she would post me a book, and me being me was like, Faye's not really said anything about it since. And then of course I saw Faye and she handed me the book, and it was Sacrifice by Bridget Chimera. I have the first 3. Yes, I have the first 3, so I'm just missing one, and number 4, Secret, in paperback. And then I have the whole collection. I love this series, and I believe she's writing some more books based around this series, maybe? I've heard rumours somewhere, and that would be pretty awesome if that's the case. So thank you very much for Faye for giving me this. You're awesome. The rest of these books are ones I received while I was working at Orion. So they very kindly gave me a copy of A Version of Us by Laura Barnett. And this is actually really for my workplace. I'm gonna force it on as many people as possible because it's one of Orion's biggest titles this year, and I think that it'd be great for us to get behind it as well. I think my managers would really appreciate me not just getting behind a kids title, even though my sort of work goal this year is to get everyone else behind the kids titles. I think this could be a really great book for Waterstones as well. I hope to try and read it at some point. I've got a little bit of time until June, so I'm going to pass it around as many people as possible and get them all to read it. The next 3 books are ones that were on their sort of like freebie shelves that I got to choose from. So one that I've been eyeing up for a long time and never really sort of convinced myself to buy it is Hollow Pike by James Dawson. Never read any James Dawson. He predominantly writes horror, and I don't really like horror. I'm a scaredy cat. So I don't know how much sort of horror-ish this is, but it's about witches and stuff, and I'm always trying to look for a good witch book because there's very few out there that are actually decent. So I thought it's something that I would probably give a go at some point. And then we've got Dark Parties by Sarah Grant. It actually won one of Sarah Grant's other books, one of her newer ones, quite some time ago. Not read it, but I've always looked at this and gone, oh my god, it's so pretty. The next one is actually not published by Orion, but the freebie shelves, basically they can put whatever they want on there and people can take it. So someone had obviously finished with this, and that is Shut Out by Cody Keplinger. I haven't read The Duff. Undecided yet if I want to, probably will do. I have one of the other books in this series, A Midsummer's Nightmare. I think they're companion novels. I might be completely wrong, but I know they're related because they're all set in the same place. Lastly, a book that on Friday afternoon I was like, so guys, who do I bother about getting hold of this book? And they very kindly gave me a copy, and that is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Don't know how to say that. Sorry, and it's rather shiny. Super excited about this book. It sounds amazing. When I was researching before I went down to Orion for the week, this was the book that I had intended to come back with. This was the one that I wanted. It's going to be interesting, and I'm very excited to dive into it. It comes out in February, so I'm hopefully going to read it soon, and I'm really excited. So thank you very much to Orion for all of those titles and for having me for a whole week. I hope to go back down either to Orion or to some other publishers, you know, do some more work experience, work around, see what's on offer and see what path my possible career in the future could take. It might not even take a publishing route, I don't even know. But yeah, so that's a load of books. I did no writing while I was away, absolutely none, but I did a shit ton of reading. I read loads of books, I read like 4 books. Well, I finished one today, but I started it yesterday. But yeah, so I'm recording this really late at night because I've had a completely chillax day, and yesterday getting home, there's a long gap between finishing work and getting on the train to come home, and when I did get on the train there was also a massive group of sort of like 25 to 35 year olds who were really loud and drinking, going to Manchester for the weekend to get drunk, and I was just like, I just want to travel home in the quiet. So I was completely shattered when I got in yesterday. I'm only recording this now. But yes, I had a great week. It was great to see some old friends and just generally be around books but in a different way. So hopefully I'll get to do more stuff like this in the future, and I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!